What's happening, people? Population Nation here with my review of Picard Season 3, Episode 7, simply titled Dominion. Now, some people, in fact a lot of people started off liking this series, and as it's gone by, they've liked it more and more. But to be honest, me, still enjoying it, still liking it. But the last one or two episodes, I think they perhaps could have put them together. And I've heard a YouTuber who's actually seen the whole series, and he was saying episode 7 and 8, they perhaps could have condensed them to one episode. But this one, quite a lot of exposition, a lot of talking, going over a lot of what people who say watch Deep Space Nine and TNG might already know, but for new people, it's handy for them to get informed, the last episode, I think both Worf and Shaw now have talked about the Dominion War and the Changelings. And as we now know, these are like a hybrid changeling. Now, Tuvok starts up, 7 talking to Tuvok, and because you've got to be careful who they talk to, and they're monitoring like his voice and this and that, and she throws something out there about a game of cards, and then do you think it's him? But then she mentions something else, and it totally isn't him. And then I just thought it was strange, Picard suddenly, walks up to view screen, where's Riker? And he morphs into Riker, and he's as dead as you lot when we finish with him, like blah blah, and the communication. And then Picard, says, well, it looks like we're on a zone. And I just think it's quite strange, Ro said, and it started off obviously right at the very beginning, Dr. Crusher, saying trust no one. But I mean, he's trusted quite a few people. And sort of mostly been right. So to then turn around and say, well, it looks like we're completely on a zone again. And they keep saying, all the fleet, the entire fleet's gonna be in the Sol system for, Federation Day or whatever they're calling it. I think it's a bit bizarre, really. You'd think you'd want to get as many people in on it as possible to try and root out this problem. And you would have thought that they'd perhaps even go and visit the Great Link and speak to them, because at the end of Deep Space Nine, at the end of the war, they sat down and negotiated And I don't think they said they had to move planets, the Great Link, and really they just basically want to be left alone. You know, so they could potentially be either brought in to, well, they could be brought into another war, or they could be brought in as allies to help divert a war. But there you go. Anyway, Jack feeling guilty. Says, hand me over. Now, what is going on with Jack? And when Picard hatches the plan to lure the Shrike, the Shrike, is it Shrike or the Shrike, Shep and Braddock to them, and it's strange how she says, shuttlecraft only, not to use transporters, so there's still clearly an issue there. They're not perfect. And I'm only making a little guess here, but when I think not Noonien Singh, but his brother or whoever it was in the Golem anyway says, or B4 law. It's a bit confusing, isn't it? Who's who and who's which one, like, but Law seems to be the dominant personality, and then Data. But they were saying about the aromatic syndrome or whatever it is that Picard's got, and he says the imperfection, and I'm sort of guessing that when Vadik first became aware that she could take solid form and she breaks free from a torture, and she's already on Daystrom Station, I think they might have implanted something into the synthetic body of Law Data or whatever you call it, or whether using their biological abilities or through some sort of computer data stream or whatever, But basically, they've worked out that there's this thing that Picard suffers from, this rare genetic thing.